Hello and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to some classic VFR flying with me, CraftySimulations. Right, before you see the brand spanking new Just Flight PA-38 Tomahawk. Now, I did a video on this before, so if you're interested in looking into more details of the PA-38, check that one out. This one's going to be a little flight video. We're going to be doing a little local flight. Now, I was basically looking around the internet, and I've looked flight simulator related stuff. Obviously, Sim Update 15 has just been released, so I was keeping an eye on all the news regarding the update. But I ended up on my favourite page, flightsim.to, and I was looking at some repaints for this very aircraft. And, well, I found this repaint. Now, if you've read the title, you'll know exactly where this aircraft's come from, this repaint's come from. But if you don't, okay, this repaint of this particular aircraft is basically a homage to my youth, because this is a PA-38 Tomahawk that has been repainted to look like the PA-38 that was flying in the film Iron Eagle. Now, if you don't know what Iron Eagle is, think Top Gun, minus the US Navy, and, well, it's supposedly the US Air Force, but it's more the Israeli Air Force, but we'll gloss over that side. But anyway, we're not talking about F-16s today, because that's what the aircraft was in Iron Eagle. We're talking about this thing. Now, the Tomahawk in question featured in a few minutes worth of the film, was flown rather ludicrously. Basically, if you haven't seen Iron Eagle, it's a 1980s film about a young lad whose dad flies F-16s for the United States Air Force and is shot down by a insert Middle Eastern country, a fictitious Middle Eastern country, and the main character, this lad called Doug Masters, and he is a trainee pilot. He can fly aircraft like this. He has a Cessna 172, I think. I don't think he had the 150. Can't remember now. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. But basically, he basically wants to go in and rescue his dad flying F-16s. That part of the film, amazing. Still some great aerial photography and aerial filmography. But the scene we're looking at here, or this aircraft, actually appeared, like I say, in one particular scene. Probably lasted about 10 minutes, if that. And there's a race between Doug Masters in his Cessna and a bloke I believe they called Notcher. I can't exactly remember his name. I haven't even looked at any of the YouTube videos. I haven't seen the film in years. But I think his name was Notcher, and he was on a dirt bike. It gets worse. Notcher goes through a Grand Canyon style scenery, and you see this Cessna racing the dirt bike, doing stall turns. I mean, if you look at it from a pure filmography side of it, it is awesome to see a Cessna do things that you should not see a Cessna do. This aircraft was flown by one of the other actors. I can't remember his name now. And you see this aircraft do a barrel roll for no apparent reason other than it looks pretty cool. And yeah, I think there was 3 aircraft. I think the other one was a Decathlon. I'm not 100% sure again. But yes, I saw this repaint. I was like, you know something, this is the repaint I want to fly. So it is a very accurate repaint, but it's very simple. Obviously, it's got a red stripe and a blue stripe and a white underside, and a couple of stripes on the wings. Now, I think it looks pretty good. It even looks like the 152 over there in the corner. Obviously, Just Flight made an amazing aircraft here. I think this repaint looks absolutely amazing. It is a little bit different than the standard repaints we get for the aircraft. Just Flight did a fantastic job with the repaint selection they gave. I can't remember if this is a... Well, obviously, it is a real aircraft. It does exist. I do believe that is the real aircraft's tail number. From what I've seen, there was a repaint that didn't have the tail number. The person who created this repaint, again, it's on flightsim.to. I will link the repaint in the description below. He's released an update which added this tail number, which I think somebody gracefully told him was the actual tail number for the actual real aircraft. Now, I don't know if this aircraft exists nowadays. I mean, that's back in the 80s. or what state it's in, but I think it's amazing. So yes, this is me paying back some homage to my youth. The times I've seen Iron Eagle, it's ridiculous. If you actually want to see the very scene, just YouTube Doug Masters Iron Eagle races Notcher, something silly like that, and it'll pop up. It's got a cracking soundtrack going to it, in typical 1980s rock music. Like I say, it's Top Gun, but US Air Force. So anyway, let's back the film. Today's flight, we're actually going to be doing some grass landing. Not here at Waddington, because we only have one runway here. But we're going to do a local flight. We're going to be flying out of here at RF Waddington, like I say. And we're going to be flying, if I get my little chart, we're going to be flying to Echo Golf Kilo X-Ray, which is Curtin in Lindsay's glider airfield. A brilliant little airstrip. We've got 4 runways to play with. They're all grass strips. They're plenty long enough for this aircraft, and it will show this aircraft off in, you know, a scenario of landing on grass, which is always a bit more difficult than landing on a nice flat paved concrete or tarmac runway. So anyway, I finished the talking, I finished the yakking. Let's jump in the aircraft. We're not reviewing the aircraft today. We are just going to be going on for a nice little flight. I do believe I have set up the flight route on this 750. I've done it in the Flight Simulators rough navigational stuff. So we've got a direct from Waddington to Curtin and Lindsay. Now, ignore the fact we've got a German registration number there. I don't know why that's there, and the tail number is actually American. So I don't know if that's a bit of a problem with the repaint. But we'll ignore that. We're not talking to air traffic, so I don't have to worry about that in the slightest. So let's center that back up again, turn on TrackIR. Get that centralized. Right, so we will shut the door, latch it on the first latch, and we do have a latch up here. Just remember that. Open, no, we'll open that actually. If you want to talk to anyone who's on the ground. Right, so fuel system is on and latched. Battery system is coming on. We've already got the route saved into there. Anti-collision light. Alternator. Fuel pump. Fuel pump is set. I'm just trying to remember. It's a very simple aircraft to fly, and I'm trying to remember how to fly it. I don't actually fly it that often, if I'm honest. Right, so we'll set that how we want it when the engine gets running. Right, so you gotta love the Just Flight sounds. They got it absolutely bang on. Yep, you can hear the linkages and everything. So let's just get. Oh, the rudder pedals won't work while we're not moving. Gotta remember that one. So fuel is set. Magnetos are set and on both. And we are on the brakes and clip up. Is open. And let's get it started. Looking for about 1,000 RPM. We are just a little touch over 1,000, but we're perfectly fine. Bring the mixture back a touch. Pitot heat will turn on the taxi, on the runway even, landing lights on the runway, fuel pump on the runway as well. I'm probably not doing this correctly, but I'll shut that up so you can actually hear things. Right, so we've got that all set up, so we'll set that for route. This is our route. It's only a short route. Oops, let's go to that. It's a short route. Looks like we're going straight over Scampton, and Curtin and Lindsay is just above on the north, just above Scampton. Squawking 7,000, and we'll set that to. Oh yes, we don't have a transponder in this aircraft. I always found that weird. We don't have a transponder yet. We have the transponder option for the 750, so that's fine. I forgot about that. This is a basic aircraft. If you're wondering where this sits in the collection of GA aircraft, this is a very basic twin-seater. That's it. It's just a twin-seater. So we shall set I'm not particularly worried about the weather, so we'll set that to run not traffic. We'll set that to run terrain warning. Set the altimeter, that was pretty much just about the same. Set the compass, that was set correctly. So T's and P's wise, fuel pressure is good, amps are good, oil temperature is good, oil pressure has climbed up, and it's in the yellow still, but we are on a low power setting, so that will come up in time. So obviously we shall now do a flap check. So flap one check, one position, on the left and on the right. Flap down to full, left and right, and flap all the way up. We're doing a flapless takeoff because we've got plenty of runway here. So just running through the last of my checks in my head. Everything seems to be correct. Don't need lights. Just pull that back a little bit. We'll zoom that back in. So, let's get going. Always check the rudder and steering, and then check the wheel brakes. That's the only thing that's going to stop you if you have an issue on the runway. So clear on the left, clear on the right. I can't get the soundtrack out of my head now. I can't remember what the song was called. Sounds weird, I just said I can't get it out of my head and I can't remember the song. I can't obviously play it on here, YouTube will have a hissy fit. But there is videos showing the, should I say, the amazing soundtrack and the amazing flying skills involving a Cessna. And our Tomahawk here, and I believe it was a decathlon. And the bike rider, if I'm honest, the motorbike. There's some great scenes of the Cessna flying ridiculously low, right next to where the bike is. Yes, he's got his flaps down to maintain a slow enough speed, and obviously it's in a race, so he wouldn't be doing that, but it's good. It's a good scene. So we're going to pull up in our usual place to do a run-up. Point ourselves with the back end out over that taxiway. There's no one around us. Right. So run-up is we'll be setting the RPM for about 2,000, and then we'll do our mag checks, control checks, flap checks. Yeah, that'll be about it. And also our T's and P checks. So let's get up to 2,000. Have to get rid of the control column. There we go to the left mag. Notice the drop in RPM. Go back to both. Resets. Right mag. About the same deduction of RPM. Go to both. And what we'll do now is a check between the two mags themselves. So we'll go to left, we'll get a deduction, go to right. There's not much of a difference between both mags, which is absolutely fine. Set back to both. T's and P's, fuel pressure is now well in the green and towards the red, that's fine. Ampage is good, oil temp is good, oil pressure is in the green, that's what we're looking for. Last control check is fine. Last flap check is fine. Mixture is set. Fuel tank is set. Both tanks are reading full. Landing light is on. The fuel pump is on. We'll have the pitot heat on. Shouldn't really need it in temperatures like this. Right, it will be a departure runway 20, I do believe, if I can remember correctly, and it will be a right-hand turn climbing up to about 2,000 feet, and we'll start our run over towards Curtin Lindsey. We will be flying directly over Scampton. I believe the minimum altitude is 1,500 for Scampton. Obviously, the flight simulator still thinks it's an active airfield. It is not in reality. And then we'll be making our approach into Curtin Lindsey. We'll probably make a break over the airfield, just checking the conditions on the way as we go over the airfield. So clear on approach. The sounds of this aircraft are absolutely fantastic, as they are in all Just Flight aircraft. Sounds bring the aircraft to life. So, mixture is set, throttle will be set, fuel is set. Let's go. There's 60, 70, and we're airborne. Keep ourselves nice and low and build the speed back up. Passing 90 and we'll start our climb. P's and P's are good. Airspeed holding around 90, just a little bit lower. 500 foot rate of altitude. And we'll just clear this village over to our right hand side here before we start our right hand turn. Clear on the left, clear on the right. So, landing light is coming off, fuel pump is not required. No autopilot in this aircraft, so we are flying this all by ourselves. Like I say, this is a great little training aircraft. Not advanced with, or festooned with screens. Obviously the GTN 750 down here, and 650 is it? I can never remember what the other one is. So as we're saying, not exactly the fastest aircraft in the world. We are slightly increasing our altitude and sitting at around 90 knots as we head directly for, I believe, the cathedral. A bit of turbulence, a bit of bouncy. So, Sim Update 15 landed. Got to say, I believe the stutters are a little bit less. On my system anyway. I mean, I've not really struggled too much with stutters. I think we get most of the stutters are obviously on the approach, as with the sim has to start dealing with loading up buildings and whatnot, but I never really noticed too much in the department of the stutters. But apparently that is the last of the major sim updates. Sim Update 15 will be the last one for 2020. And this will allow Asobo and Microsoft, the developers, to concentrate on 2024. No real concrete date as to when that's getting released. Rumours are sort of in the October range for this year. I'm hoping that everyone that obviously got Sim Update 15 didn't have any major issues. There's always a risk of issues when sim updates come out. It always makes me a bit panicky. I didn't download it on day one or day release. I was at work, but as soon as I was able to, it was straight on the computer and start downloading an update. Just trying to do two things at once and trying to read my phone at the same time as flying an aircraft. It's a bad idea. But it has linked me to a program I did purchase, which is been very interesting. Been reading up on it before purchasing it, and I'm quite happy with it so far. But it is the new Beyond ATC. So if you don't know what Beyond ATC is, the ATC system here in the sim is, let's be kind, antiquated. It's basically the same as FSX's ATC. Same options, same style. It's basic. It does the job. You can do VFR flying, airport to airport, airfield to airfield, that kind of stuff. You can, obviously, it's more set up for IFR, long distance flying. But the voices are not really good. It's showing its age. In a sim that's obviously, you know, in 2020 was brand new, it should have had a update to the ATC. So Beyond ATC was spoken about. I knew about it a few months ago, and it offers a chance to be a 100% increase and better version of ATC for the sim. Not only is it a clickable options like the ATC is in Flight Simulator, you know, you move your mouse over different options and you hear the voices, you can actually talk to the software. and it will respond to you if it understands you. It also has, we're here, bit of turbulence. It also has very, very realistic voices. Now, this was a problem with, let's just say, version 1, or sorry, pre-release of Beyond ATC, and that was the prices. Because it costs the developers of Beyond ATC a lot of money to get accurate voice acting done, it showed that in the price. Originally, I believe it was a £60 in the UK release. That's what they first said it was going to cost, and you would get X amount of voices, voice packages that you paid for. So it's like £10 or £12, I can't remember exactly what it was, and that got you umpteen thousand voices that were very, very realistic. Beyond ATC listened to us, the community, who voiced, which is quite good for Beyond ATC, voiced their concerns at paying £60 for it. They weren't best pleased. So the price was dropped down to about 30. I think it was a little bit under £30 for the UK. We still have you can buy extra voices, but you also get the ability to run it completely free. Well, I say completely free. You run it with a less quality voices than the uber expensive ones. The less quality voices are immensely better than Flight Simulator's standard voices. So I purchased it. I have not purchased an upgrade of the voices. They're only like £12, I think it is, for I don't know how many thousands of words. But so far, it's really, really good. It is still early days. If you are interested in increasing or getting your ATC to be better, I'd have a look at it. I really would. At the moment, you can only really do basic IFR flying. There is no VFR. So at the moment, for me personally, it's, you know, for this kind of arrangement, I'm talking to different airfields and whatnot, it's not going to work. It doesn't work for that. But there is a roadmap, and VFR implementation is going to happen. It is not a matter of may it happen, it will happen. And it's going to be a while, I suspect. There is updates coming out for this Beyond ATC pretty much daily, tweaking stuff here and there. There is going to be a traffic injection system. So the Beyond ATC will actually inject air traffic into your simulator, and you will hear the ATC talking with these AI aircraft in a realistic manner. That I cannot wait for. But like I say, I did a flight from Oxford, London Oxford to Blackpool in the DA42. I did a completely IFR flight, which for me is rare, to say the least, and it was actually really, really realistic. A step up on Flight Simulator's own ATC. I didn't do the voice one. I have done it once where I've actually spoken to it, and it did understand me, if I'm honest. Even though my understanding of ATC verbal commands is not the best. But it worked. So I was very impressed with it. So if you are in the market for increasing your traffic control, just check out Beyond ATC. Check the videos out on YouTube. They have their own Discord page as well. And as for what I'm getting so far, the developers seem to be very, very keen even on communicating with the community. And yeah, I think it's a fantastic program. I think it's definitely worth having a look at. And I can't wait, like I say, for the VFR side of it to be implemented. So we're going to start our descent now. We're what, over 2,000 feet, so we need to about 1,500, really. In fact, I can see the airfield. It's right in front of me. And this is the joys of grass. Way turbulence again. This is the joys of grass strips. They blend in with the fields. At the moment you can just see about 12 o'clock, we're really hitting some turbulence now. There is a 4-way runway. So we do have a choice of a long runway and a short runway. We don't really need the long runway for this one. We'll be making an approach over the airfield, and the runway will be landing on, I can't remember the number now, but we'll have the hangar buildings to our right. I think we've got quite a buffeting tailwind because this aircraft doesn't quite want to dive too much. We're still maintaining between 90 and 100 knots. So we'll keep Curtin and Lindsay to our left, and we'll make a right-hand circuit approach. Zoom that in. Right. Landing light coming on, fuel pump coming on. If I remember correctly, there is a hump in this grass, which you just catch, which means the ground is coming up a little bit quicker than you expect, something you don't expect really on a runway, a proper runway anyway. Flaps down to 1 stage. Always remember trying to do grass landings on FSX, and the grass really wasn't that much difference in how it felt to the aircraft than a normal tarmac runway. Luckily in 2020 it does feel different, and there is a challenge to it. So we are 1 stage flat down, gear is fixed obviously, fuel pump is on, landing light is on, pitot heat is still on, mixture is full, fuel tank is set to the fullest. We'll start our turn round. Still at about 500 foot. Decrease, runways in sight. Checking for obstacles. I believe we have trees on the approach, so we'll have to obviously maintain a bit of altitude as we cross the threshold of the runway. Maintaining 75 knots, about 500 foot, 400 foot. Rate of decrease of altitude. Over the road. and welcome to sunny Curtin. Like I said, this airfield is used as a glider base. So we'll just stop ourselves around here, and we shall have fuel pump is off, landing light is off, pitot heat is off, mixture is set. And we'll get ourselves off the runway. Parking brake is set. No, else you can do it the right way. Come on, there we go. Fuel is off. Mixture is good. Anti-collision lights are off. Alternator is off. Battery is off. And already the pilot's jumped out. Something about just like aircraft, the pilot does come out and the battery is turned off on the aircraft. So, there we go. Not Doug Master's Cessna. I'll see if I can find actually the repaint for Doug Master's Cessna, see if that exists. But this is the Piper Tomahawk from Iron Eagle, and we've done a little flight. I don't know whether I want to do a barrel roll on this particular aircraft. I don't know whether it would be rated for it, but yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this little video. I hope you've enjoyed a little snippet of a flight from this amazing Just Flight product. Like I said, if you want to see a proper review of this video, I did a review video for this one a few videos ago. It's on the series, it's on the channel somewhere, and I will see you guys and girls in a future Microsoft Flight Simulator video very, very soon.